Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Today is the auspicious day of Chithrai, Karthigai. The Thirunakshatram of an acharya who was a bridge, not a physical bridge, but a philosophical bridge, helping us recite the Divya Prabandham, understand the Divya Prabandham, and live by the tenets of the Divya Prabandham. And if not for this acharya, we would not have gotten any of this. Who is this acharya? Where was he born? What were his contributions? How are we able to speak about him 1200 years later? This acharya was called Uyyakondar. He was one of the primary Sishyas, disciples of Swami Nadhamunigal. As we know, Nadhamunigal is the foremost acharya. He was the first acharya that appeared after the Alvars with the sole goal of uplifting mankind. Nadhamunigal did a penance of reciting the Kanninonchiritambu 12,000 times by learning it from a descendant of Madurakavi Alvar. And what did Nadhamunigal get? He not only got the Thiruvaiminibytes, but he also got the entire Nalayira Divya Prabandham as well as the Vigraham of Bhavishya the Acharyan, the Acharya that is going to appear and uplift and help us live this Kali Yugam, who is none other than Swami Ramanuja. Therefore, Swami Nadhamunigal had the responsibility of not only teaching the Divya Prabandham and giving ways for enlightenment and attaining moksha, but he also had the responsibility of spreading this sampradayam, ensuring that this lineage continued, because he knew another acharya would appear in his own family who would be a darshana pravartakar before Swami Ramanuja physically appeared. Therefore, Nadhamunigal had to ensure that the continuity existed. When he calls his Sishyas and says, I have two skills. One is Yoga Rahasyam, through which I can teach you deep meditation and you can become one with the Lord. Your suffering will end almost immediately as soon as you are able to master the meditation. And the second option is to teach the Divya Prabandham, learn the esoteric meanings within this Divya Prabandham, the rahasyams that these Divya Prabandha Arulichayal teaches us. They are called Divyam for a reason, because they are Divyam. Divyam means auspicious. They are auspicious because all the Nalayira Divya Prabandha Pasarams always give us the meanings of the Vedas. What do the Vedas tell us? They tell us how to reach Sriman Narayana. And how do we know how to reach Sriman Narayana? It is all hidden in the three Rahasya mantrams that we are supposed to recite every day. The Tirumantram, Dvayam and Charma Shlokam. And this is why they are called Divyam. While this is massive, Nalayiram seems like a lot, the repetition, the variety in which all of this is explained helps each of us understand these three mantrams so that we may serve the Lord eternally. And therefore, this was a massive kainkaryam that Swami Nadhamunigal had to ensure that it continued. Therefore, he gives two options. Do you want Yoga Rahasyam or do you want to learn the meanings of the Nalayira Divya Prabandham? One of his disciples, Kurugai Kavalappan, chooses Yoga Rahasyam. He immediately starts meditating and becomes one with the Lord. Whereas the other disciple, called Pundarikaksha, chooses the Nalayira Divya Prabandham, and the justification he gives is just so beautiful. He says, Pinankidakka manam punaralamo. Pinankidakka Manam Pudaralamu. In this world, everybody forgets where the Atma originated, who the Atma belongs to. Without that knowledge, when people are, the Atma is literally dying without knowing what is the source of this Atma, how can one get married? When there is a dead body, how can there be a celebration of marriage? And therefore he tells, Adiyan will learn the Divya Prabandhams, Adiyan wants to learn the Divya Prabandhams and will ensure that it continues. Hearing this, there was the easy option of attaining moksham and being liberated. But this Pundarikakshar chose the tougher path, the path where we learn the Nalayara Divya Prabandham and its esoteric meanings, so that not only he but humankind would be uplifted. And if not for this choice of Pundarikakshar, where would we be 1200 years later? If we are talking about this a millennium later, it is this choice that Pundarikakshar made. Hearing this, Nadhamunigal immediately hugs him and says, "Oh Pundarikaksha, you are the one that is uplifting mankind, that is going to uplift the name of Emberaman, the Kalyana Gunas of Emberaman, and due to my sambandham with you, even I am going to be uplifted." Remember, Nadhamunigal was the acharya and Pundarikaksha is the Sishya. But Nadhamunigal says, due to my sambandham with you, even I am going to be uplifted. Such was the greatness of the acharya, due to which he is able to understand when his Sishya is choosing something great. And therefore, this Pundarikakshar becomes Uyyakondar because he chose to uplift everybody. Uivadu is upliftment. And thus, Pundarikakshar became Uyyakondar. Uyyakondar was born in the Divyadesam of Adi Thiruvellarai, the Divyadesam that appeared well before the time of Sri Rama himself. It appeared in the time of Sibi Chakravarti. Exclusively to serve Sriman Narayana in this Divyadesam, Sibi Chakravarti brought 3,600 Brahmanas so that they may perform wonderful Kainkaryam to Perumal Pundarikakshan in the Divyadesam of Thiruvellarai. He was a Munsikai Brahmana, and Munsikai Brahmanas are very popular in Tamil Nadu, and it is said that the three Alvars who are Brahmanas, Periyalvar, Tondadipudi Alvar and Madhurakavi Alvar were all Munsikai Brahmanas. Therefore, Pundarikakshar was born in this high kulam, noble kulam, and true to his lineage, all the samskarams required to be performed as a child were done wonderfully by his parents, and they went on to give him all the necessary Vedantic knowledge, and he was just awaiting a guru for his upliftment. Nadhamunigal was born 63 years before Uyyakondar, but somehow their paths cross and Uyyakondar becomes the Sishya of Nadhamunigal. It is said that Nammalvar is the rain showering cloud from high above, giving the Nalayara Divya Prabandham to the mountain called Nadhamuni, and there are two rivers from which all of this Arulichayal falls into a lake, which then spreads its water to all the fields so that we may all benefit today. The mountain is Nadhamuni. The two rivers are, one of them is Uyyakondar, the other is Manakal Nambigal, and all of this flows into the big lake called Swami Ramanuja, who then gave us 74 Simhasanadipatis, 74 Acharyas who have been responsible for spreading the Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam as we know it today. Our Purvacharyas believe that if there is a small hole in the road and when it rains, the water gets collected in this, a few birds, a few animals may benefit. But instead, if it collects into a river that flows far and wide, many people will benefit. And now, if this river also flows into another lake where the water can be stored, and from this lake we can spread the water in whichever direction needed, then that is the most beneficial to mankind. Therefore, Swami Ramanuja became the lake, from the river called Uyyakondar, from the mountain called Nadhamunigal, from the shower of rains of Swami Nammalvar, and we receive all this grace through all of these acharyas even today. As stated earlier, Nadhamunigal not only had the responsibility of ensuring that the Divya Prabandham was spread far and wide, but he also had the responsibility of ensuring that the Vigraham, the Bhavishyadacharya Tirumeni Vigraham that he received from Nammalvar would continue, so that they could match all the identifications and identify the Acharya who would uplift all of mankind. So all of them understand that they had their parts to play, their specific parts to play, while Ramanuja would come and do his massive magic of uplifting all of humanity. Therefore, Nadhamunigal secretly gives this Vigraham of Bhavishyadacharyan to Uyyakondar and says, you must believe this to be the Tiruvadi of Nammalvar. These are none other than the feet of Nammalvar, because Nammalvar himself has predicted that a person will be born who will turn out to be a great Acharya, and the identification of that Acharya is in this Vigraham. Even today, we can see this exact same Tirumeni in Bhavishyadacharyan's Sannadhi at Chaturvedi Mangalam within Alvar Tirunagari. All of the things that we are saying here have a lineage, have a pramanam, have proof that all of this has truly happened. We're not talking mythology, we're talking real history. History that we are able to continue and live by. Therefore, when Nadhamunigal says, you must consider this as Nammalvar's Tiruvadi himself, Maran Adipanindu Uindavan. Uyyakondar continues by giving this Vigraham to Manakkal Nambigal, who gives it to Alavandar, who is the grandson of Nadhamunigal, Yamunacharya, and Yamunacharya gives this to Tirukoshtiyur Nambi, and together the 5 main disciples of Alavandar identify that Swami Ramanuja is the Bhavishyadacharya, and they continue this secret, keep this secret beautifully, so that we are able to celebrate Jagatacharyan Swami Ramanuja. The 5 disciples of Uyyakondar are Manakkal Nambi, Thiruvallikeni Pan Perumal Arayar, Setalur Sendalarangara Jiyar. This Sendalarangara Jiyar is said to come from this same lineage, the Jiyar that exists today. Pundarikadasar and Ulaga Perumal Nangai. Nangai and Nambi, they show idealistic qualities, and that is why Sishyas have this name of Nambi or Nangai. Of these Sishyas, Manakkal Nambi is the most primary disciple, because he served Uyyakondar exclusively for 12 years. After the passing away of Uyyakondar's Patni, Bharya, Andalamma, Manakkal Nambi took care of the entire family, the entire Tirumaligai Kainkaryam, including taking care of the bathing of the daughters of Uyyakondar. And when they were not able to cross a big puddle, this Acharya lies down. He becomes a physical bridge using which the girls of Uyyakondar cross the muddy puddle. And due to the muddy footsteps set on the back of Manakkal Nambi, he became Manakkal, the person with the feet of the muddy feet, and due to which his village itself became Manakal, the village from where he was born. Manakal Nambi was extremely instrumental in filling the next bridge of ensuring that Nadhamunigal's grandson Yamunai Thuraiva would come to this sampradayam and ensure the continuity of Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam and bring Swami Ramanuja into the fold of Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam. During the final moments of Uyyakondar, he entrusts the responsibility of continuing this Sampradayam to Manakal Nambi along with the Vigraham of Bhavishyad Acharyan, and mainly entrusting that Manakal Nambi will bring Yamunai Thuraivar into the Sampradayam. After this, Uyyakondar takes a Padmasanam pose, prays and meditates on the feet of Swami Nadhamunigal and moves on to the next stage. While Uyyakondar has not given us any granthams, the pasarams that we recite every day have taniyans, and two of the most important taniyans for the grantham of Thiruppavaiminibytes, Annavayal Puduvai Andal and Chudi Kodutha Chudar Kodiye have been given to us by Swami Uyyakondar himself. The other important Kaikaryam that Uyyakondar has done is he was the Darshana Pravartakar, he was the caretaker of the temple, he was the most important leader when an Odia king came attacking Sri Rangam. At that time, Uyyakondar and Manakal Nambi together took Nampermal to Tirumalaranjole Malai, Alagar Malai in the south, near Madurai, and ensured his protection. It is not simply said that Tirumalaranjole acted as protection to Nampermal, not once but twice. Therefore, Tirumalaranjole is an extremely important Divyadesam for not only the wonderful pasarams given by our Alvars, the Anubhavams that they had, the Acharyas that have come from that Divyadesam, but also for protecting Nampermal. Swami Uyyakondar was extremely important in contributing to our Sampradayam by protecting Nampermal, by protecting and ensuring that the Divya Prabandham comes to us as we know it today, and giving us the Bhavishyad Acharya Vigraham. He was instrumental in enabling Manakal Nambi to bring Alavandar, who would bring Swami Ramanuja into the folds. Therefore, let us take a few moments to learn the history of Uyyakondar and understand how our Acharyas have worked for the upliftment of humanity. The Taniyan that we must recite for Uyyakondar is Namah Pankaja Netraya Nata Shri Pada Pankaje Nyasta Sarvabharayas Matkula Nathaya Dhimate. He was the one that who offered all that he had. He did complete Bhara Samarpanam and put all his troubles and all his good or bad at the feet of Nadhamunigal, and he was born as Pundarikakshar in the Divyadesam of Thiruvellarai so that he may uplift us. Let us also recite the Vadi Tirunamam of Uyyakondar today. Valavayyon Tanai Vendra Vadivalagan Vadiyel Mal Manakal Nambi Thozhum Malar Padathon Vadiye Seelamigu Nadhamuni Thiruvellarai Vadiye Chithrayil Karthigai Naal Sirakka Vandon Vadiye Nalirendum Ayyendum Namakkureithan Vadiye Nalettin Utpuralai Nadathinan Vadiye Malaranga Manavalar Valamuraipon Vadiye Vayyam Uyyakondavar Thal Vayyagathil Vadiye. Uyyakondar Thiruvellarai Sharanam, Alvar Emberamanar G.R. Thiruvellarai Sharanam, Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha.